What have you heard about mental illness? What do your culture say about mental illness? What have you heard your elderly ones say about mental illness? What have you been believing about those that are mentally ill? Alright, on this very video, we want to talk about misconceptions in psychiatry. And when we say misconception simply put are those wrong notions, wrong ideas that people have about a particular thing. All right. So when we say misconceptions in psychiatry, we simply mean those wrong ideas, those wrong opinion, those wrong belief people have in the cause, the diagnosis, the treatment, and the prevention as well as rehabilitation of the mentally ill or mental health disorders. All right. Having understood this, I want to explore on some of those misconceptions people have because a lot of people have one or more thing to say about the mentally ill. All right, let's dive into it. First of all, there are people who believe that the appearance of a full moon or a new moon or the appearance of a Christmas month can actually cause madness. Is it true? No, it's actually a myth. And myth may, for the fact that a particular thing is generally accepted, doesn't mean it's true. So, the appearance of a new moon has nothing to do with the cause of mental illness. The second is that if one disobey a deity, it is believed that this person can't come down with mental illness. Is that true? No, it's actually a myth. So, a lot of factor has a role to play with the cause of mental illness, not disobedience or not disobedience to a deity. Now, mental disorders are only cured by traditionalists or spiritualists. No, not true. Because a lot of people have this perception that when someone is mentally ill, they take him to one spiritual center, take him to one traditional center, they chain the person down, tie him up, either pray for him, do some religious rites, or beat him to try to see how to drive off those things. So, is that true that mental illness are only cured by traditionalists or spiritualists? No, that's not true also. Some people believe that it's caused by evil spirit. Is that true? Not at all. And that's why you see a couple of persons they want to drive out the evil spirit. They want to go about doing some barbaric act on this very individual. The next to be considering is that if you marry someone who is mad, you can contact it. Not at all. Mental illness is not sexually transmitted. You heard me well. Mental illness cannot be transmitted during sexual relations. Now, some people also believe that you can inherit mental illness. Yeah, for this aspect, to some extent, it's actually true because mental illness can actually be inherited. So, next on our list is that it can be transferred. Mental illness is not an airborne disease, it's not a communicable disease. So, it cannot be transferred, all right, in that very regard. Now, some persons believe that by nailing this individual's skull or head, you cure the mental illness. Nailing this individual skull or head is actually a barbaric practice. It has nothing to do with the treatment or management of mental illness. Next, people also believe that the only way to cure mental illness is to kill this very individual. And this was the practice in the Dark Age, in the pre-medieval age. So, this very approach has nothing to do with the cure or management or eradication of mental illness. The next is that people believe that drugs don't cure mental illness. No wonder they believe that it's cured traditionally or by a spiritualist. Medications are there. Science have advanced. Medicine have advanced. So mental illness, medication can actually be used to manage them. Now, it can only be caused by witchcraft, and those who have it are witches or witchcraft. This is so untrue. It's just a myth. Mental illness is not caused by witchcraft. Neither do people or persons who have this condition are any of those. Now, people also believe that immediately he or she enters the market, it cannot be reversed. That is so untrue. So untrue. It's just a myth. Now, with early diagnosis, early management, there is high prognosis for better recovery. People also believe that immediately you cross the river, it cannot be reversed as long as the river keeps flowing. Not at all. Mental illness can be managed. People also believe that it can be caused by the spring, that's rainy season. And in the beginning of this period, some persons tend to be depressed. And some persons believe that in dry season, some people tend to be hyperactive. This has nothing to do with mental illness. Alright? So a lot of factor, combination of other factor play a role. And I'll be making a video on this particular uh, causes of mental illness. Ensure you come back to check what are the true causes of mental illness. What we just finished stating are only misconceptions. They're only wrong opinions, wrong ideas that people have about mental illness. Now, if you have other misconceptions, other things you have heard of which I've not mentioned, let me know in the comment box. I'll really appreciate so we can rub minds together. All right. Now, do you think that there are associated dangers with these very misconceptions? Yes, indeed. There are a lot of dangers that follow the various misconceptions people hold about mental illness. For instance, imagine someone whom they are trying to nail or borehole in his head to cast out this very evil spirit. The individual can die as a result of hemorrhage or sepsis, which is infection. Now, we have the next one, which is actually discrimination. Persons with mental illness suffer a lot of discrimination from people close to them. They are ostracized. And the next one is condemnation by others. Mental illness is not caused by any individual. So don't believe it's their fault. Don't treat them as though it was their fault. So when you see someone that is mentally challenged, please, they need love, they need care, they need a lot of attention. It is not their fault. It can also cause segregation. We already know that the society itself do not smile with mental illness. You lose a lot of privileges. You can't vote, you can't be voted for. You can't make an informed decision. You can take consent, you can also write your will, and so on. Now, with this, how do we now manage this menace? First of all, health education cannot be emphasized. The role of health education is actually far reaching, which is one of the major reasons why we are having this very discussion. By means of health education, people will actually get to know what are the actual cause of mental illness and how can it be managed. What are the options, the alternatives people can explore, especially due to their pocket size, their location, the time frame, the family style, the decision making mechanism, and so on how to manage the various mental health challenges. The next is the aspect of early diagnosis, early identification, early treatment. The earlier you recognize this very symptom, the better. And how would you know if someone do not tell you? That's why you're here. So, as I said, when the video that contains the causes of mental illness, the management, and so on will be dropping, ensure you check by, follow through from beginning to the end so that you know, and it will help you to be able to identify where this is no longer a spiritual challenge, a physical challenge, a medical challenge, but rather a psychiatric or psychological challenge. The next is the aspect of incorporation of this various psychiatric hospital and the political system. Now, the government can actually set up psychiatric centers up to standard, giving them the necessary support, the necessary backings and equipment they need, which will help in managing persons with these challenges. Because mental illness does not respect your sex, your gender, your race, your class, does not respect whether you are rich or poor. And then the next one is that token donation should be done by philanthropists or bodies that donate, all right, so that they can be able to manage persons that are challenged. What we need to talk about again in respect to this is the aspect of counseling. Counseling will go a long way in managing some of these harmful effects caused by misconceptions. Well, family members need to get this support, get this education to know that mental illness are not caused by the various misconceptions we have stated out here. We have the aspect of management to recovery or to peaceful death. Please, people who have mental illness, they should be treated with dignity. They should be treated with respect. Manage them in patience till they recover or they actually have peaceful death. Rehabilitation care is very necessary. When you see someone who has mental health challenge, refer them to the rehabilitation centers. Legislation against stigmatization cannot be overemphasized. So the government should put policies in place that protect the rights of persons that are mentally ill or challenged. I believe you have learned something at this very point. I'm looking forward to that very moment where this very channel becomes your most favorite click. But at this point, if you have any question, please drop it in the comment box. And if you're yet to subscribe, hit on that subscription button, click on the turn on the notification bell so that whenever contents like this drop, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you so much for staying true. God bless you.